It's time for Lefties Losing It, and let's start with Anna Navarro. She's not only one of the miserable mavens of The View, but she also shares her unpleasant and uninformed invective on CNN, where she dismisses certain opinions based on gender and race. How progressive.
Also, I want to respond to you saying that I was hyperbolic when I talked about a reign of terror.
Because that is hyperbolic.
No, it might be hyperbolic for you as a white man.
Oh, okay.
It's certainly not hyperbolic for me as a
racist.
Latino. No, I'm not being racist.
It's incredible to dismiss my opinion for being a white man.
No, I'm not dismissing your opinion. I am telling you that what the Latino community, the brown community in America.
Speak in one voice.
Okay, well, let me speak with my voice. I mean, you said I was being hyperbolic. Let me respond.
Racially, sure.
I'm not. You being a white man as an insult?
When you invoke it to dismiss my
being a white man as an insult?
When you invoke it,
do you think Latinos are living under circumstances that other people may not be right now in this country?
There she goes again, pretending every member of the Latino community is illegal and fearful of being deported. As for her being blatantly sexist and racist in that instance, well, it wasn't long before CNN host Abby Phillip was rushing to rescue Anna and defend her bigotry. Wonder if she'd do that if a man dismissed Navarro's opinion because of her gender and race.
I just want to make a point that, Brad, all she's saying is that her view of the situation is different from yours. I don't think that's an insult.
She basically said, I'm wrong because I'm a white man.
She just said, I see it differently.
I see it differently.
She said, I see it differently from you, which is not an insult. It's not, and it's also not a racial insult.
Say what now, Abby? Nice attempt at gaslighting, but we just heard Anna being racial. It wasn't the difference in opinion that was ugly. It was the racist, sexist reason behind it.
As a white man?
Now let's go to Anna's View co-host, Sunonny Hostin, who exemplifies the left so beautifully, so unprincipled, so inconsistent, so utterly devoid of anything resembling a good faith argument. Let's see her go from claiming anyone who wants the Epstein list released is a reckless conspiracy theorist. That's when the Democrats were in power. But now that Trump is in power, well, she's had a dramatic change of heart. And let's thank Maisel Moore again for this superb clip.
People were dying for this information. There was some sort of list that everybody thought was going to come out, and who's on the list. What's important for us to note is we shouldn't be repeating names that are on the list, because just because your name has not on the list, but in the documents, just because your name is on the documents doesn't mean that you have done anything criminally irresponsible or illegal or civilly irresponsible.
Or that you were a client.
Or that you were a client. These documents, as I read them, only reflect Epstein's sexual assaults of women and his sexual behavior. So I think that...
And Ghislaine also?
And Ghislaine. And so being named in this suit does not equate to being accused of wrongdoing. And I think that is extremely important, because conspiracy theorists seem to not understand or enjoy facts.
Yes.
These are the facts.
There is a list. Trump's name is on the logs, the passenger logs of Epstein's aircraft at least 7 times. That's already been made public. I mean, of course, Trump is denying any and all allegations, but all of that information is out there. Why not just put it to rest and say, release the list?
And let's stick with the ladies of The View. Whoopi Goldberg is unhappy again. This time she's attacking her own, including Mark Cuban and even Barack Obama, who have advised the left, they've advised the Democrats to stop whining so much. Whoopi is outraged. She wants to keep whining incessantly.
Let me remind everybody who was out in the front lines marching when we had the giant marches that went on. It was the people. The people went out. They were not navel-gazing. It was older people who were saying, why are you touching my Social Security? It was not people whining. With much due respect to you both, I believe you are pointing the finger at the wrong person when you say Democrats.
And let's hear from Barack Obama, who's had a dramatic change of heart, almost Sunonny Hostin-like. He's gone from berating men, claiming that only sexism is stopping them from voting for Kamala Harris. Remember this?
And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. That's not acceptable.
Gosh, I can't believe that didn't work. But now Barack Obama has had a change of heart. He's changed his tune. Here he is rooting for men on Michelle Obama's podcast. He explains that boys and men feel like they're not being valued.
And I would argue that some of the broad political trends we've seen, not just in this country, but around the world, have to do with this sense of, boys, men not feeling as if they are seen, feeling as if they count. Mm-hmm. And that then makes them more interested in appeals by folks who say, you know what, the reason you don't feel respected is because women have been doing this, or this group has been doing this, or that group's been doing this. And that is not that's not a healthy place to be.
Now, in the past, we've talked about Barbara Streisand blaming Donald Trump for getting fat. Her words, not mine. Rosie O'Donnell blamed the president for her drinking too much. And now we have actress Valerie Bertinelli getting on the internet to talk about her desire for alcohol and food. To give this Democrat some credit, she is a big Democrat. She even filmed herself voting for Kamala. How embarrassing. Now, to give her credit, she doesn't directly blame Trump for her online meltdown, but we all know who's to blame.
I want to drink. I want to numb it. I don't want to feel it. But my logical mind is like, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to numb it. You know what will help you feel better is to just feel the feelings, get through to the other side, have a good cry. And yet I can't cry.
Now, the almighty LGBTQIA++ community is fracturing. This group that has enjoyed disproportionate power, disproportionate influence in recent years is splitting, with many in the LGB part, lesbians, gays and bisexuals, rejecting the excesses of the trans movement.
We are normal gays.
We are absolutely embarrassed by the insanity of queer ideology and are announcing our departure.
If you want to keep chugging along with the people who make everything about race, believe in thousands of genders, and transition children, be our guest.
If you stand for the separation between crazy and common sense,
and you no longer agree with the ideology of woke activism,
we are taking a stand by reposting, resharing, and refocusing our energy on us.
And let's see what happened when Arielle Scarcella, who you saw in that clip, attended Pride in New York and sought to have some sane, rational conversations. It didn't go too well. You see, the love and tolerance mob can't even tolerate a lesbian, a member of the LGBT community who is not in favour of irreversible trans treatments for children. Watch this.
They took away the procedures for people to be able to...
The Supreme Court just ruled on that.
On minors, yes, on minors.
You can no longer get gender-affirming care under 18 in Tennessee.
I agree with that, and I think a lot of LGBT people do, including a lot of my transsexual friends.
So what are trans kids supposed to do? Just sit and wait?
A lot of kids grow out of it.
Well, what's the problem?
A lot of kids grow out of it,
yes,
so you're saying it's a choice. You're saying it's a phase. This woman's coming to New York Pride trying to say, so why are we okay with this conservative influencer trying to say that transness is a choice?
Put words in my mouth. I literally didn't say that.
Why are we just letting this happen in the street? We're a half block away from the Pride Parade, and we're just gonna let this happen?
Yeah, it's freedom of speech. I also didn't say that.
What's the problem with trans people?
If you let me, are you gonna calm down? Are you gonna let me talk? Because you're okay then.
Because you're spreading hate at a LGBT event.
I'm gay.
Joining me now is YouTuber and conservative gay activist Arielle Scarcella. Arielle, were you spreading hate there in New York City, just around the corner from a Pride Parade?
I mean, I was a Pride Parade myself, right? I'm a lesbian. I should be allowed to be there. And I would have never thought that this little hat and 5'1" little old me would have caused such a hectic day. No, I'm just kidding. I knew that was going to cause a hectic day. But it's crazy because New York City is supposed to be the most liberal city in the world, right? This just proves once again what we know, that leftists are not actual liberals, right? In the true sense of the word, which is why I made that video. You know, there was a girl on TikTok that wrote to me and said, listen, we need a day. We need to show people that we are not like these crazy people. We're different. We're just normal gays. And I said, let's do it. She decided to call it Alliance Day, which is the first video you showed on the show. And it's almost funny because the last time I spoke to you publicly like this was 6 years ago when I visited you in Australia. And I was leaving the left then.
Yes.
And now it's just like I'm inviting everyone else to come along. And now we have, you know, we want to celebrate one day. You can be, you know, a gay alliance.
We need you back, Arielle, for Mardi Gras. Next time Mardi Gras is on, you need to be back here. You need to be wearing that cap. And hopefully this time you will have a lot more support, because it must be pretty confronting to have someone like that towering over you, saying you shouldn't be able to express your opinion. Do these crazed activists think your opinion is deserving of violence? Because, I mean, what else do they mean when they say, are we just going to let us say that? Are they going to physically stop you?
I guess, I mean, even if they don't verbally say that they're calling for violence, I think it says everything that I had to hire a bodyguard with me this time around. There are a number of other LGBT people, normal gays, and there are a number of other just regular straight people that have been doing these types of street interviews and getting physically and verbally harassed. Savannah, I forget her last name, but Savannah recently was at like an anti-abortion or a pro-life rally, whatever it was, interviewing people and got punched in the face. Like it's come down to this, which is really sad. So I said, you know what?
Yep, we played that punch.
Yeah, I'm gonna hire a bodyguard.
It is really quite terrifying. You do need a bodyguard, but we have seen this factoring of the LGBT community. It's not just yourself. You've been one of the leaders of it. Where do you think the split is right now? Are the dissenting voices like yourself a small minority, or do you represent a sizable chunk of that community?
I think 6 years ago, there was a very small fraction of us. And I think now, just based on how many views that one video of Alliance Day got, it blew up on every single platform. Just that alone shows me that there's more of us now than way more of us now than before. And I think it comes down to three main issues. It's the leave kids alone debate, the protect women's spaces debate, and the transsexual versus transgender or transsexual versus gender identity debate. So it's basically it basically comes down to biological reality and identity. And a lot of these normal gays like myself are not for any of those three things. Right? We want to leave the kids alone. We want to protect women's spaces, and we believe in transsexualism, but not at the expense of women's spaces and kids. Right? Like it all kind of comes together. And I think the majority of people are over it, to be honest.
Now, the excesses of the trans movement, this obsession you mentioned with exposing children to this ideology, has really changed people's perceptions of the community. I know several trans people who are deeply unhappy about the activists and how they've changed the way many people see them. I think this has actually been terrible for people who identify as trans, who don't want to have anything to do with this activism, but who are now viewed in a political light.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the majority of us, like we always say, we're normal gays, we're normal trans people. We just want to, like when we said we want equal rights, we wanted equal rights. We wanted to assimilate into society. That's very different than this queer movement that has taken over and you know, basically it's taken over our movement, renamed itself, and it's fighting for everything that we disagree with, which is why we've seen the divorce happening for quite some time now. there's a lot of people popping up. There's, of course, there's Blair White, there's Buck Angel, like all these people. There's Becky Weiss. There's a conservative aunt. I'm sure you've heard of him. Just a lot of normal. I hate saying the word normal, but it's like we really are just like normal people that wanted to integrate into society, and we have those rights now. And of course, the queer activists, on the other hand, are making up all these new identities that they now have to fight for, which aren't even real. Well, your movement is gaining strength. It's gaining numbers. It's become very much mainstream, and we look forward to talking to you again, Arielle Scarcella. I also want to talk to you about what you've described as the left's war on traditional family values. We'll do that next time. Thanks for your time tonight.